Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. I'm Justin Goldston, partner of supply chain at ERM. ERM is the largest pure play sustainability consultancy. I'm also a professor at Georgetown University, where I teach in the master's program of supply chain management, and I also serve on the advisory board there. So I just wanted to spend a few moments discussing how we can create a sustainable supply chain. And throughout this presentation, I hope that you'll see the technological implications on how you can create a sustainable supply chain through the leveraging of technology. So similar to how we have a product life cycle, we also want to frame it like a sustainability life cycle. And through each phase of the supply chain life cycle, we want to keep sustainability and ESG efforts in mind. So as we are looking to the design phase of a product, we want to be able to embed sustainability and circularity principles within that design. We want to be able to design products and design packaging to support consumer requirements. We want to create product design and packaging design to support regulatory compliance. In the design, from a process perspective, you also want to keep sustainability in mind. When we look at the planning phase of a product life cycle, we want to be able to integrate all departments within an organization. We want to be able to integrate sales, procurement, production, delivery, and one that many oversee is marketing. Marketing is going to understand what the wants and needs of the consumers will be. Whenever they're making their buying decisions, they're always looking at the sustainability of the organization. They're always looking at the purpose of the organization before they make their buying decisions. And we all talk a lot about the triple bottom line when we talk about sustainability, but I think that we need to shift our focus to the quadruple bottom line. We want to look at the people, planet, profit, and purpose of the organization, because these consumers are looking at the purpose of the organization. So with that in mind, you have to kind of integrate that. You have to integrate sustainable practices, because the consumers which you are marketing to, which you're looking to sell to, are going to be looking for that whenever they're making their buying decision. What environmental impact does your products have on the earth? What contributions is your organization making to societal? What societal impacts are you contributing to from an organizational perspective? Whenever we're looking at sourcing, we want to be able to align our procurement department with the compliance objectives of the organization. At ERM, we work with a lot of organizations on developing their supplier codes of conduct to make sure that the mission and vision of the organization is also aligned with that of the suppliers in which they purchase from. We do a lot of work in terms of supplier diversity programs. And whenever we're looking at the make process, so from a technological perspective, this is where technology is going to make a significant impact, in my opinion, in that this is where you're going to see AI start to make a large presence. You're going to see AI hitting every single one of these spaces, in my opinion, but I think that AI is going to, here's where all the data is collected. This is a step where all the magic happens, if you will, where all the data is collected, and then that data is going to be transferred throughout each phase of the process. It's going to be reported to the regulators to validate our sustainability efforts, our ESG efforts, and things like that, to ensure that our products are in compliance with their requirements. So that's why that communication and collaboration is going to be very important. We may have to be able to track our information. We may be able to have to extract that information from a make perspective in order to document that, in order for our business partners to be compliant with regulation. And then the delivery phase is where we want to look at our logistical footprint. We want to look at our carbon footprint from an emissions perspective. Whenever we are transporting product either to our consumers and either to retailers, either to our distribution facilities or warehouses. We see a lot of discussion in terms of scope 3 emissions. That's one thing we work with a lot of organizations on. That's one thing that's very difficult to track, but I think that we have developed a framework at ERM to enable that visibility for organizations. Whenever we're talking about use, this one is, in my opinion, is going to be very important because here is indeed where organizations can make an impact, and it's not going to require a lot of effort. If you are able to communicate sustainability in your packaging, now, not only are you making an impact from an organizational perspective among your employees, but you're also able to tell a story to your consumers. Now you're able to provide direction to your consumers on how they can be sustainable, on how they can effectively recycle this product to return this product to your organizations so that we can indeed create this circular supply chain that we're all talking about. We can actually initiate the circularity that we're all discussing. We can actually leverage technology to create apps so you can track and trace that, and then you can also incentivize and gamify this whole process to kind of make circularity exciting, make it fun. So the use is where we could actually make a very large impact, but we have to be creative in doing that. And we're starting to see some organizations to have those discussions through the use of technology. And then finally, end of life, we want to be able to minimize the negative impacts of end of life from a product perspective. We want to be able to track and trace to see if we are hitting these circularity goals, to see if we are indeed hitting our metrics from a sustainability perspective. And again, in order to track and trace that, to see how we're performing, we're going to have to leverage these technological tools. So to go into more detail on each one of those phases, and then here's also where we're going to be collecting data from my product lifecycle perspective, so that we can again increase efficiencies throughout our supply chain network. We're just going to continue to find ways to create these circular supply chains. So there's a lot of lessons learned throughout this process. We have begun to develop innovative ideas or processes or approaches in order to kind of create this circular economy, this circular supply chain.